Hello and welcome once again to my YouTube and Soul tutorial. I am Chioma Nwosu and a lot of you call me Chimi. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to achieve an open cowl dress. Okay, I want to say before I go into this particular tutorial that if you're stopping by my channel for the first time, it's very good to have you here with us. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share this video if it was helpful to you in any way. Okay, I also want to say that you can now actually join a closed group on Facebook, You Too Can Sew. There we share ideas, sewing ideas, and we actually just share tips and all that stuff together. Okay, I also want to say that you can also find out information about our online classes, you know, using the WhatsApp number that I'm going to be leaving at the description box, or you can send an email if you have any question or inquiry. If you're ready, let's go into it. Okay, so we're going to be using this fabric for this particular tutorial, and you just need about 2 to 3 yards of fabric depending on your measurements. You don't need more than 3 yards. Okay, so this is the lining I'm going to be using. Okay, so you can do this dress without a lining. You don't necessarily have to use a lining for it. But if you're using a lining, you can go ahead and use the lining. Okay, so I folded my fabric into 2, like so. So I'm going to cut out the back first, then I'm going to cut out the front. Okay, so the back and the front are actually different. They're not the same. They're not the same at all. So I'm going to cut out the back. Now, to know the quantity of fabric I need for the back is I'm going to be using the length of the sleeves as the quantity of fabric, because this particular dress, you know, is not a satin sleeve. Okay, it's a one-piece sleeve. The sleeve runs from the shoulder down to the sleeve. There's no visible or clear cut on for the sleeve on the shoulder. Okay, so because of that, what you need to do is to measure from the midpoint of your neck down to whatever length you want for the sleeve. Okay, so you measure from the midpoint of your neck down to whatever point you want on the sleeve. Okay, so or the next thing to do, or if you want to do it another way, is to measure your shoulder. So for me, my shoulder is actually 15 inches. Okay, so 15 inches. Now when I divide 15 inches by 2, I'm going to get 7.5 inches. So I'm just going to put 7.5 inches here. So I'm going to now add whatever sleeve measurement I need from that point. Okay, so from my shoulder, whatever length of sleeve that I need, and this particular sleeve is actually a little bit below the elbow. So I'm just going to add whatever length of sleeve that I need. Okay, so for this particular tutorial, I'm going to be using about 14 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to measure to check if I have up to 14 inches for the sleeve here, and it's not up to. So I'm just going to adjust my fabric a little bit. And then I'm going to check. I'm going to check again. Shoulder divided by 2, 7.5. 7.5 plus 14. Okay, so I have enough. This is 14 here. And I'm just going to add another 1 inch for our sewing allowance. Okay, so I have enough there. So I have about 14.5 from the shoulder line. Or you can just measure from the midpoint of your neck to whatever length you have, or length you desire. Okay, so here, this is my 7.5. So the next thing I'm going to mark here is the neckline. Neckline for me is 3 inches, so you use 3 inches for your neckline, and then this is shoulder line. Okay, so now this is the length where the sleeve is. We're going to come down to achieve the shoulder slope, and because this is going through from the shoulder down to the sleeve, I'm going to be using 2 inches here as our shoulder slope. Okay, so I'm going to extend the line. So I'm extending the line from shoulder to sleeve, from shoulder to sleeve. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to now measure the round sleeve measurement or the round arm measurement. Okay, so what I'm going to be using for this particular dress is 10 inches. So if you want to know what to use, you're going to measure around your arm like so. Okay, so I have 10 inches here, but because I'm going to gather this into, I'm going to do a band, so I'm going to gather this into a band. So this is 10 inches. I'm going to add some allowance to help me gather it. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 5 inches, and I'm going to add another 5 inches. So I just doubled whatever my round or my sleeve opening is. So I'm just going to add 1 more inch because I'm going to be sewing up here, and you know I need the seam allowance for that. So I'm going to add 1 more inch and make it 11 inches. So I've marked 11 inches here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to measure the length. So the length for this particular dress for me, I'm measuring from the shoulder down is actually, okay, I'm going to be using 36 inches at my length. I'm going to be using 36 inches at my length. This particular fabric is 44 inches, that's the full length. So I'm going to be using 36 inches, and I'm going to add 1 inch to it for seam allowance. So I'm using 37 inches. Then I'm going to extend the line. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is also mark from shoulder to waist. Mine is 16 inches, and then I'm going to mark from shoulder to hip. Mine is 24 inches. Okay, so you can actually mark from shoulder to waist, then you come down from waist about 8 inches to give you whatever your hip point or hip line is. From waist to hip is about 8 to 9 inches depending on your size. Okay, or you can just go ahead to measure from your shoulder to hip directly. Okay, so that is it. I'm going to extend the waist and the hip line. Okay, so I've just extended the waist to the hip line. Okay, so now I'm going to insert my waist and hip measurements here. For this particular dress, because it's not fitted on the waist measurement is actually not so important because it's not a fitted dress. So the hip measurement is more, and that's the most important measurement here. The hip measurement is actually 40 inches, and when you divide 40 by 4, because I'm working on a fold and this is one side, so when you divide 40 by 4, that's quarter of the hip measurement is going to give you 10 inches. Then I'm going to add some allowance to this for seam and for ease if you want. So I'm going to add in 2 inches, which is going to make it 12 inches. So I'm going to mark 12 inches here. Okay, so I've marked 12 inches here. I'm going to extend this hip measurement to the waistline. Because whatever can fit through the hip. You know, your waist cannot be bigger than your hip measurement. So the hip measurement, I'm just going to extend it to the waistline like so. Now for the hem here, I'm going to reduce the hip measurement by 2. So here I used 12 inches, it's 10, and I added 2 inches to it, which made it 12 inches. So I'm going to remove the 2 inches, and this will be 10 inch. Okay, so I've just marked 10 inches there on the hem, and I'm going to extend this one to the hem like so. Okay, so now from the sleeve here, I'm going to do a curve from the sleeve to the waistline. So you can use your curved ruler to actually achieve that. Something that looks like this. If you don't have a curved ruler, you can just connect it like this. Okay, so this is how it's looking. This is how it's looking. I'm just going to readjust so to have it, make my lines straight. So this is how it's looking. Now this is the neckline. The neckline, I'm just going to come down 1 inch for the neckline. So this is 1 inch, and just give it a curve. This is 1 inch. Sorry, I need to use my curved ruler so that I can get good curve there. Okay, so that is it. I'm going to cut out the front, the back. This is the back, and I'm just going to use this back to cut out the front. Okay, so to cut out the front, I've actually placed the back on the front, on the fabric that I have folded already. So this fabric is already folded, so into 2. So this is the back that we cut out already, and then we placed it on the folded fabric. So I've placed the back, a little bit forward than the front. I started this particular folded fabric from the neckline, so you can see where I'm starting from the neckline, because I don't want anything here. I'm going to use the fabric strip that I cut out to replace this particular side. So if you're a little bit confused, you can just place it the same way. You can just place it equal, and later you can trim off the front from the neckline. You can trim out the excess, So, but for me, I've placed it like this. So everything here is going to be the same. Everything is going to be the same here. But for this particular side, we're going to increase this part by 5 inches. So the front is going to be longer than the back by 5 inches, and then from the side here, we're also going to increase it by 5 inches. Okay, so basically the front is going to be longer and wider than the back in order for us to get the cowl effect that we want to get in front. So we're just more like going to gather the excess. So I'm just going with a straight line here as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to curve this side. I'm just going to curve it like this. Okay, so aside this, every other thing on the sleeve area is going to be equal with the back. So you can see how this one is looking. I'm just going to cut it out. I'm going to cut out the same thing on the shoulder. Okay, so we've cut this out, so you can see how this is looking. This is a little bit longer, you know, so I'm just going to connect this side this way, and the rest we're going to pleat or probably gather. It just all depends on how you want it to be at the end of everything. So I'm going to cut out the rest. Then I'm going to open. This is the front. I'm going to open up. Okay, so I've just opened it out. So you can see how, let me show you what I actually talking about so that you don't get confused. So you can see so this particular dress, the sleeve is same thing like a kimono kind of sleeve, but it's just at the end of everything we're going to gather this. Okay, so you can see how this is looking. This is why the reason why I placed the back a little bit forward, like about 2 inches or so. I just wanted the front to start on the neckline. So you see I didn't cut out any neckline, it's just a straight cut. So by the time I attach the fabric strip that I cut out, you'll see how it's going to be looking. It's going to start from the bottom to the neckline and down again. Okay, so I'm using the rest of my fabric to cut out the band for the sleeve. Okay, so like I said before, the sleeve opening is 10 inches, and when you divide it by 2 you have 5 inches. Okay, so we need allowance of about 2 inches. So 10, I'm going to be cutting out about 12 inches. That's for the length. And then for the height, we need about 4 inches. 2 inches on each side. So I'm going to be cutting 2.5 inch. The half inch is going to be for our sewing, our seam allowance. So I'm going to be cutting a total of 5 inches, like on both sides. Like when I open it like this, it's going to be 5 inches. So you can see that. So I'm just going to cut this out. Okay, so 10, I need about 12 inches. You can fold it into 2 so that you can cut for both sides at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to cut it here and here. Okay, so this is what we have. This is going to be for the opening on each side. So you can see the sleeve, the way the sleeve is. Okay, so this is the way the sleeve is. So by the time we do a little bit of gather, and then we use this to close up the sleeve. So this is the band for the sleeve. All right, so I'm also going to cut out fabric strip for the neckline. So it's going to come from the hem all through to the neckline and back to the hem. Okay, so the fabric strip that I cut out, I have actually joined it together. You cut out as much as would be okay for you, depending on the length of dress that you're making. So this is okay for me, and like I told you, it's a total of 5 inches. When you fold, it's 2.5 inches, and I just need 2 inches. The 5 inches is for the seam allowance, and this is for the sleeve. I've already cut out and I've attached interfacing to it as well. So this is for the both sleeve. Okay, so I'm going to cut out the same thing that I cut out for the back and front on the lining. I'm going to do that off camera. Then I'm going to go to my sewing machine and do the joining. Okay, so I'm going to start by joining the shoulder. So this is the front and then this is the back. I'm going to join it. Okay, so I've joined the shoulder. You see how it's looking. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join the sides. Okay, so this is the tricky part. You see how this is longer than this one. So I'm going to attach the tip here to the side here. Okay, so you can see how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to gradually pleat. So I'm just pleating upward. Can you see the way the side is looking? It's looking all pleated upwards. Then I'm going to repeat the second side. Okay, so I've finally joined both sides. Okay, so this is the way it's looking. I've joined the front to the back on both sides. So this is the way it's looking. And this is the effects that we have here. You see that I connected the tip to the end of the back here. And then I joined it, pleating it as I go. You can actually use gathers if you want, but I like mine the way it is. Okay, so with this, I've repeated the same thing for the lining. I've repeated exactly the same thing. This is the lining. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to join the lining to the fabric. Wrong side facing each other. That's the side that has the seam facing each other. Okay, so this is going to go in this way, and this is going to go in this way, so that we can have both the inside and then the outside looking very neat. Okay, so I'm going to start from this side, and I'm going to run a stitch all through. Okay, so you can see that I've closed. This is the front. And then this is the back. So next thing, I'm going to give the center of the neckline a notch. That's right at the center back. And this is the fabric strip that I cut out already. I'm going to use this fabric strip to run down through like I told you guys, from the neckline down through back to the neckline. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to attach it like I'm attaching a band. I'm going to attach it like, yes. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this around like so. I'm going to fold it to 1 inch. On here. So it's advisable to iron this out. It's advisable to iron this person out. Okay, so I've gone ahead to iron this through. I'm just going to do a top stitch to hold it down. This is the way it's looking after I've completed this. So this is the outside, and then this is the inside, and this is the way it's looking. So the next thing I'm going to do is to complete the sleeve. So I'm just trying to gather the entire sleeve to the band, you know, that I cut out for the sleeve. So you use whatever measurement you want for your sleeve opening, and then you just gather everything. I'm going to go ahead and finish the sleeve. Use my pressing iron to iron properly, and I'll show you guys what it looks like.